Hi, I'm Dan Raywood. Welcome to IT Security Guru. So, in the great world of breaches, hey, we had another breach. We already knew about it, of course. It was reported back in August when the FBI started investigating it. In this case, it was the US bank JP Chase. They've confirmed in a securities filing that 76 million user details for the 7 million details from small businesses have been breached, which is pretty scary actually. They confirmed in this filing that the details that were breached were user contact information, names, email addresses, personal addresses, phone numbers, as well as internal JP Chase information that related to those users. So it's kind of building quite a good jigsaw up of information about this person. Barry Scott from Centrify did actually point out all part of the jigsaw that make up a person's digital presence. So how did it happen? Well, research by Alert Logic suggested that the attackers gained access to a server that was used for marketing purposes, hence why that information was in there and not the financial information that could have been really damaging to a major bank. It all raises the question though, why isn't greater protection put on personal details? As Centrify said, all big jigsaw, you build up a person's digital identity and you actually go out and you create a new person and fraudulently ruin their life. Great comments recently by Neera Jones about how this can destroy you. You have to go and rebuild your credit rating. It's a very tricky situation to deal with. That wasn't the biggest breach, of course. We've seen twice as big actually at eBay earlier this year, 145 million records breached. We don't know how many of those are active accounts. Adobe about 10 months ago, 152 million. Doesn't make it any better. We're not trying to sort of win prizes here about who has the greatest breach. What we are trying to do is maybe make a point that actually should be greater protection put on the personal data. What's also interesting about this is this has been research going on for 2 months in this investigation, and originally I wasn't quite sure, there were no details released about how many had been affected, just the fact that a major bank had actually suffered a major security incident. As a result, I'm now looking at 76 million records breached, and look at the investigations we've seen recently. Jimmy John's, their sandwich chain in the US investigation, and we're quite sure came out with nearly 108 actually further branches of a different chain were actually affected because of a third-party point-of-sale vendor breach. Also, PF Chang, they weren't quite sure, it turned out 33 branches of their chains of Chinese buffet were affected. So these investigations are actually ongoing and actually really are finding some very interesting information. Will JP survive this? Of course they will. We've had a couple of surveys in recently, one we talked about with SafeNet on the previous video about if you are a victim of a breach, or a bank you work with or a store you work with, would you stop shopping there? Well, a store you might be turned off. Your bank, you're really going to shift your whole life over because of a breach? I doubt it personally. I think you'll just think, oh, that's an inconvenience. Well, my financial record won't damaged. I changed my password. They might ask me to confirm my information. They'll give me some free data management, sort of things like that, processing from about your personal information. Things go on, and it's 24 hours later, it's just these fish and chip paper, as we used to call it. I just would like to see more done to try and ensure that the personal information, there are greater controls put on it, greater security and greater value by those brands. Great blog today by Charles Smith, who's the CEO of Blocks, making this point very well, and something we wrote about recently. So, all in all, I would like to see the banks do something better. I don't think there'll be any example made at JP Chase personally. What I do think we'll do is we will see this as a great marker in the history of data breaches in a year when we've seen way too many. So, IT Security Guru, I'm Dan Raywood.